luck today.
Hey, Jack. All right. You got this stuff?
Yeah, all cleaned in oil.
Oh, yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful. Let's get it on.
Who are these guys?
It's my theme music. Every good hero should have some.
Live from Springfield, Missouri, the one, the only, He's Bud Green. Hey, hey!
Excuse me. Can I get a cup of coffee? Black? Can't you see we talking? White?
Well. It is Thursday morning. Hi, I am Keith, and I am here with my good buddy and awesome dude all around, Martin. How are you, Martin?
I'm fine. How are you this beautiful day?
You know what? As I get older, I realize two very important things. One, I'm not going to get any taller.
Dude, you're tall enough.
I'm not as tall as I originally wanted to be when I was a child. I wanted to be taller.
But 7 feet? Because you're what, 6'3"?
I'm not 6'3". You know what? When you meet me, I think so many people have a misconception of how tall I actually am, either because of what Gerry has intimated or other people have said, that I think when you meet me, you might be a little disappointed, or it might be kind of funny how tall I actually am, because last weekend I actually got around people who were truly tall. And I've met several basketball players. I am not that tall. I'm telling you right now, I am not that tall. I'm tall. I'm just not that tall. And when I was little, I wanted to be taller. I wanted to be 6'6".
Well, not to debunk you, but Alima says this.
Yes, that's coming from another person that has not physically met me. I love you guys, but it might be a little disappointing. Sci-fi, Mombi, good morning. Gap After Dark. Wow.
Of course, we have Anima.
Of course, the lovely Anima.
Penny.
Oh, Lady Penny, you are amazing.
And
D-Bud Martin, yes.
And more people in the chat, but they are silent.
You know what, Anima? I know how tall you are, and yeah, I would definitely see you. It's one of my superpowers. Turns out, people of a certain height, especially if they're shorter than me, and small children seem to like me. So, oh wow! And Gap, thank you very much. Hit that like button on the way in. Share out the stream. And give us a like on Facebook, Instagram, heck, even on YouTube. We got a lot to say. And don't forget, we are also on the Mighty Rumble. Woo. D-Bud Martin.
Oh, my God, dude.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to say anything, but let's just say I'm shaking my head in agreement. Uh, um, wow. Well, today being Thursday, let me just say this. Since last we talked, I have I've been to Planet Comic Con in Kansas City, so I'm gonna take a moment out to say to Chris Jackson and everyone in Kansas City, really to there's I think a city organization that runs their parking, to the mayor and everyone else in Kansas City, especially that VIP that came on Sunday, who Chris Jackson, who runs everything, was given a special tour to. Wow. Good convention. Another amazing event. I think they may have done more business than they ever have in all the years of doing business in downtown Kansas City. And to everybody that came out on Saturday, whew, anybody that knows Bartle Hall in downtown Kansas City, to have seen a line wrap around almost twice that building. Whew. Then again, as always, Planet Comic Con knows how to bring in guests and they know how to advertise. Congratulations to their publicity department for the billboards that they had around Kansas City and that entire area that were just amazing. There were a lot of guests. And there are a lot of people that came seemingly from all over to meet the cast of Scream, to meet the cast of Sons of Anarchy, to meet the legendary Sid Croft of Sid and Marty Croft, as well as some of the actors that he brought with him from Land of the Lost. The cast of Happy Days. Wow. I know I'm forgetting some people. Oh, of course, Ian McDermott, the Emperor himself.
Did you forget the Emperor? How dare you?
I know, but you have to understand, though, there were some people who I conveniently kept spending a lot of time with, and that was the guests brought in from Batman the Animated Series.
Oh?
Where they were sitting, for those that went and couldn't find them, that's because they weren't sitting with all of the guests. They were actually at a booth at the convention. You had to know which booth that it was to find them. Wow is all I can say. Just wow. And all nice people. It was just a heady experience to get a chance to meet these particular individuals and to let them know how much I appreciated what they were able to create with that one animated series. And I know there's a lot of younger people that, X-Men in the 90s. Let me tell you something. X-Men was a good animated show, okay? But Batman the Animated Series had it beat.
Batman the Animated Series redefined Batman.
It redefined everything because the animation style that they had was unique. The music, it was a full scale, or I was an orchestral score.
Yes.
And remember, they did not use that for X-Men. X-Men was that was all created mainly by one person, maybe two people. And again, nothing against X-Men at all. X-Men was a fun show. X-Men definitely deserves to be remembered because, again, like a lot of Marvel animated properties, Marvel took a lot from the comics. They were trying to do direct translations, from or a near direct translation of what they did in the comics to animation. And that is a formula they've been using since the 60s. Okay. Batman the Animated Series was better than any animated series ever had a right to be. Ever. And some of the things that they did, especially according to many of the actors and actresses who were on the show, especially in the first 2 to 3 seasons, they did this thing where people like Richard Mall and others who were guesting on the show had talked about how that they had recording sessions where they had all the actors together and how it was like doing an old-fashioned radio show in many respects. Nobody else was doing that because it cost too much money. So when you think about the type of talent they had for that show, to have certain episodes where they invited the entire cast in to try to basically do it together. Oh my goodness. It's just to hang out with them and to ask questions. Again, it was like I was 7 all over again. Because I found myself just digging deep and asking questions. How did you do this? How did you get this person? How did you, that entire production was amazing. And let me reemphasize, I have never seen a production of any TV show where you had the first 3 to 4 seasons of the show technically get canceled, then brought back, mainly because of, I think it was money. I think it was a money issue with Warner Brothers, which is the reason why the show redesigned all of its characters. The look of the show in the first few seasons is very different from the last few seasons of the show. That's because they were 2 different shows. So you're dealing with one version of the show where Bruce Wayne looks a certain way, where Batman looks a certain way, the Joker, everybody looks a particular way. When you get to the second version of the show, they redesign the look of all the characters. Batman has when you first meet him in season 1, 2, and 3, he's a big guy. You can tell he's very much like he's got that Ben Affleck body. Big guy. When you get to the latter seasons, he's more streamlined. Lots of angles. And the big difference between the two is that in the original version of the series, Dick Grayson was Robin. When they brought the series back, he wasn't Robin anymore.
Yes,
He was Nightwing. Nightwing never showed up in the original version of the series. So that's how you can tell which version you're watching. And so Robin was Tim Drake in the latter half of the series. And that caused them to redesign all of the characters. So if you look at the original art for seasons 1, 2, 3, and I think 4, and then compare the art from everything to the end of the series, it's a different looking show, even though many of the voices were the same. Even the Joker was altered.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you got disconnected for a second.
Wow, you see that's what I'm saying when I came into the
Yeah.
show. Like it was like my computer itself was trying to disconnect me. But anyway, Destiny Captain, speaking of radio shows, I just listened to a complete episodes of the CBS Radio Mystery Theater here on YouTube. Pretty great. Yes, I've been talking about that. You can find episodes of the CBS Mystery Theater hosted by E.G. Marshall. And wow. I give it my highest recommendation just to listen to that. If for all of you out there who have ever thought about acting, especially voiceover work, listen to this stuff. It's good homework there. Wait a minute. What was that last one that you posted again? Oh, Wolverine 626. Batman the Animated Series withstood the test of time. The same can't be said for X-Men, however. Look,
I do not agree.
I think it depends on how old you were, what your whether or not you were a fan of the material prior versus being something all new. And Batman the Animated Series was a show that was really for everybody. Whereas the X-Men series, in my opinion, was basically aimed at kids. A lot of people who were unfamiliar, but also, it was definitely something that if you were familiar with the X-Men, was definitely something meant to be fun for you too. It wasn't like current Marvel, the way Disney has it, which is all about chasing fans away, So seemingly chasing fans away. But I had a great time. And I'm ready for what Planet Comic-Con is going to do in the future. And again, from people who were there, from the dealers, from many people that were vendors and others, I have to say that based on what they've told me, because I have yet to do this was as big, if not bigger, than C2E2 in Chicago, which is the definitive event at least in the Midwest. And so for those who have never been to Planet Comic-Con in Kansas City, you might want to check it out next year. Tell Chris Jackson, the chairman, and all his staff that I sent you. It's definitely one of those events where they are interested in catering to everybody. Because that's what I've been seeing a lot of. You see a lot of catering to mainly younger people, a lot of anime stuff and other things. So by having guests beyond anime and manga, especially a lot of older guests, Sid Croft. Look, say what you want. In all my years, I have never met someone who's probably won as many Emmys as Sid Croft. And there's a reason for that. He did admit, something that I had long suspected after I became an adult about many of the shows that he and his brother put on. And he did admit that they got into the green leafy stuff a little bit, which probably affected the way they created a lot of shows. Because again, think of it. You sold an entire network on a Saturday morning children's show about people who fly giant hats. After selling, prior to that, an entire show about a magic talking flute.
Say again.
Yeah, again, Sid and Marty Krofft. Look, they have a book about all of their experiences and all the shows they created. These guys were so good at what they did. They actually got hired by Hanna-Barbera to help them do a live action show. So they designed the costumes for this show. Would you like to know what show that was?
Please, enlighten us.
The Banana Splits.
Oh.
Yes. Now, Martin, it sounds like you may have never seen it. Trust me, it's trippy.
No, I saw the Banana Split.
Yeah. All of those costumes were designed by Sid and Marty Krofft. So, yeah, it was a real honor to meet Sid Krofft. I'm sorry that we missed his brother by a few months. He just passed away a few months back. It was, but it was. I have never met someone who has won as many Emmy Awards, has been honored as much as Sid Krofft has, and his brother, and who really enjoyed being creative. I think the only other people growing up who have been honored as much for what they provided for children's entertainment would have to be Henson or Disney. You know, if you have an opportunity to meet Mr. Sid Krofft, go do this. He is a man of a certain age. I don't know how much longer he has, but he will answer every question you have. And if for any other reason, just to basically shake his hand and thank him and his brother both for providing solid entertainment, albeit a little weird. Solid entertainment. And I don't think anybody currently is in danger of outdoing what they did, given creativity and the level and care that they put into creating what they did, and in certain cases with a limited budget. I know it seems kind of outrageous to say that considering what they did, but yeah. So yeah, it's that was an amazing weekend. One of my favorites in all my years of going there. This was their 25th anniversary show. I'm not sure if we're going to have the same number of guests next year, but if you when they've already announced next year's dates. I haven't gotten the dates myself yet, but I heard they've already announced. If you can just, if you're curious, come by, check it out, have some fun, stay a little bit, and check out Kansas City. So I think you'll have some fun there. Well, okay. Let's get to some of the discussions in the chat because everybody seems to have gone off. So Destiny Captain says, I loved those shows when I was a kid. I know, right? The Bugaloos, the Far Out Space Nuts. It's wow. I mean, there was just so much that they provided. And I can definitely say that being a child of the 1970s, early 1970s, I was thoroughly entertained. But as I got older, as I said before, I just began to ask questions. You see things differently, especially, with, like with a lot of things. Like when you got older and you started, when you were watching the Warner Brothers cartoons, you began to realize, oh, there are other jokes wrapped into a lot of this stuff outside of just the stuff that you thought was funny as a child. You become aware of more adult humor. Yeah. Anyway, let's see. Okay. Who else has anything else to say? Oh, Wolverine 626 says the same generation grew up on Batman the Animated Series and X-Men as they both came out the same year. Yes. And both had two very distinct art styles. But again, for me, Batman was above X-Men only because the people who made Batman, they were making an animated series that was based on the spirit of the character and not trying to adapt the books too much. So they celebrated all things Batman. And the whole thing about using black paper and putting color on black is what gave it the deep, deep blacks of the show. That creates a whole new art style when you think about it. A way of seeing these characters. And again, it's one of the reasons why I think Batman has done so well out of all of the different properties for DC Comics. Why Batman has done so well for so long is because of the success of that series, introducing so many people to so much. Yeah. Let's see. Shanatsky. Oh, yeah. Replying to my description of Bruce Wayne and everything else, says, I think because he had too similar a body to Superman. That was, I think that was part of it a little bit, but that was mainly, I think the main changes were because I think Warner Brothers, which was being run by a lot of the people who, many of those people didn't make it out of that particular decade going into the 21st century. I think the idea was to try to streamline everything and find a way to, quote unquote, save as much money as possible. Let's see.
Yeah, I remember the after Batman and then Superman animated series.
Mm-hmm.
And it started another whole lot of animated shows, and all the heroes shared the same body. It's the same drawing.
A little bit. I mean, there was a difference. I mean, you have to understand. Really, the Fleischer brothers Superman cartoons were really the original creative basis for Batman the Animated Series. And I tell people all the time, that's really what you have to look at. That right there tells you everything you need to know and backs up everything I've said about the history of these characters and comics in general when it comes to DC and Marvel. DC dominated the first 30 to 40 years of comics as far as Hollywood was concerned. You know, really the first 50 years, according to Hollywood. DC Comics dominated completely based on how often you saw DC Comics reference, how many celebrities of note got their own comics, and why the majority of those comics were all DC Comics. That isn't to say that DC got everything, but to get you to understand, DC could pick and choose after a while. They became very picky. Marvel took anybody. Marvel was really, I didn't say they were desperate, but they took anybody. They did a lot. They had to prove who they were. And things really started to happen in the 1960s when a 40-year-old Stan Lee and a 40-year-old plus Jack Kirby, along with all of this talented people, decided, hey, let's give this a go. Let's really give the comic world a run for its money. And they really buckled down and just started producing. Not that they hadn't up to that point. But as I've said before, Stan was 1/3 of the ingredient needed to make that happen. Although Stan was the ringmaster, you needed Jack Kirby's ideas. You needed Jack Kirby's talent, both as an artist and as a writer, to do what needed to be done in the 1960s. And of course, you needed all of the additional talent they had in the bullpen, the Marvel bullpen. Everybody else, Wally Wood, everybody. All working together to put Marvel over the top. But without Jack Kirby, a lot of that stuff probably would have gone sideways. Because Jack Kirby was, in my opinion, the creative engine behind Fantastic Four, which was loosely based on the work he had done for DC with Challengers of the Unknown. So Marvel's first family is because of a team of 4 men who basically outlived their time to quote unquote die. The Challengers of the Unknown.
Keith,
Yeah.
you have some explaining to do.
Uh-oh. What did I do? What did I do?
What did you do? Have you been moonlighting as Perry White?
Oh. Oh, yeah. Well,
thank you, Monkey Jeebus, for that link.
You know what? You know what? All I want to know is, dear James Gunn, where's my money? Give me my check. I don't care. Use my image, but give me my money. Wendell Pierce, who, in my opinion, first of all, Wendell Pierce is a fantastic actor. Okay. I've loved him in so many things. And to have him be a part of this movie, it's always good to add talent. Always. And I think it's just going to be I think it's going to be a good movie having him.
You should use this as your avatar.
But
it's
uncanny.
The resemblance is uncanny.
But let me at least say this, though. That picture there, in my opinion, looks more like Franklin Stern than Perry White. Now, there's probably quite a few of you sitting out there going, Franklin Stern? Franklin Stern was the black owner of the Daily Planet. And for those who think that this is a recent thing, if by recent you mean a character that was introduced sometime in the 1970s, yeah, okay, that's recent. There's a history there. And for whatever reason, just like, as I've said before on other shows, sometimes you have certain characters that, for whatever reason, don't immediately kind of break through with fans, but they exist, and this is one of them. Franklin Stern is a character who is who's known Perry White since they were both young men. And Franklin's the owner, and Perry is the editor. And Franklin is not only just a man of wealth. Well, he's rich, but he's also a guy who politically is very conservative. And that's something that I can't talk to Marvel, but I can definitely say that DC has always dealt with that. Having characters who were unafraid to show their political leanings. And this is one of the reasons why. This is one of the reasons why, in my opinion, I prefer DC to Marvel more often than not, because they're not afraid to go there with characters. To have two characters that can have opposite views in politics, in religion, in just about everything, and still be people who can get along. That's what we need today in our society, in my opinion. Watching the hard traveling heroes of Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, and Green Arrow, Oliver Queen, and you have two people who are just incredible friends, but are diametrically opposites politically. And that was a lot of what those books were about. Two people who see things so differently, and yet they're great friends. And that's the same thing with Franklin Stern and Perry White. You know, one's a white guy, another's a black guy. They are opposites politically, but they are the best of friends. And I think when you don't truly understand the comics or truly adapt what they have done, you miss out on a lot of things. I just think that Wendell Pierce would. I think it's important to have Franklin Stern represented, mainly because, first of all, he's been represented before. A lot of you who like to talk about Lois and Clark being your favorite show, well, hey, guess what? You saw Franklin Stern on the show. He was a character for an episode.
Well, Wolverine 626 has made reference to that.
That's right. That's right. There you go. See, here's one person who remembers. Of course, notice how Smallville never had the character on. They never put the character on. You know, Christopher Nolan puts Lucius Fox in Batman Begins. Well, here's something that you really need to understand. Lucius as a character got his start exactly 10 years before Tim Burton's Batman came out. For whatever reason, Tim Burton decided not to have Lucius Fox in the movie. I don't know how to explain it. That's an issue you need to take up with Tim Burton and just ask. Because that was not a character created by Christopher Nolan and his team. That's a character. That was a character from the comics.
Yes, in fact, he appears in the animated series.
Lucius did. Yeah, he does. But as far as live action, nothing. Nothing until Batman Begins. And that's kind of sad. You know? But that's one of those things that if by not putting the character in there, you're missing a part of what makes Bruce Bruce. Because when you think about it, you're putting a lot of pressure on your butler. Seriously. I mean, Alfred can only do so much. It makes more sense to have someone who's part of the team that can actually run Wayne Industries. I mean, you know, that just makes sense.
And design the equipment.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, now, depending on what version of Lucius Fox you get, that's the thing that's kind of in the gray area. Sometimes he's the designer of the equipment. Sometimes he's not. Sometimes he's just the guy who helps to manage everything, but also helps to keep any people who are snooping away from Bruce, redirecting a lot of their inquiries. You know, because again, you're running a major business, and it can't afford to have the person who basically owns the business who sleeps until after 3:00 every day. You're going to have somebody be the face of the business while the owner's out doing something else. It just makes more sense. Then again, Smallville did at least have one character that even Lois and Clark didn't really use, and that's Ron Troop. Ron Troop, who also made his debut around the same time as Franklin Stern. Smallville had Ron Troop on a voicemail call. Then you saw an actor who played Ron Troop for about 30 seconds on screen with Clark, and then you never saw him again.
30 seconds?
About 30 seconds.
Damn. That's gotta be some kind of record.
Well, that's the thing. Again, it just shows you it's easy to claim how much of a fan you are, but one of the reasons why James Gunn is currently running everything is that he seems to have this knack for just finding all of these characters who in many cases are considered just to be characters that haven't, unless you are a deep big fan of either DC or Marvel Comics, a lot of what he's into are characters you've never heard of. The general public doesn't know. I'm in a gray area with a lot of this stuff. I really hope that the new Superman movie is as good as I hope it can be. So that's what I'm putting out there. And Wolverine 66. Man, what are you doing, dude? You're digging. DC needs to bring George Taylor to live action. Have him be the original editor of Daily Planet before Perry Wright. Wow. See? Wolverine, come on. Bringing it. See, Wolverine's the one that should be working on the DC films with James Gunn. Because I'm the guy that's like, when can we get to Captain Comet, or Space Cabbie? When can we get that deep in the cosmic side of DC? When are we going to do the Forever People? When are we actually going to bring the Challengers of the Unknown into live action films? So that's, Monkey Jeebus. It's unrealistic for them to do side stories that go into stories the movies don't have time for. Yeah, well, you only have so much time. You only have so much money. And speaking of earlier about Christopher Nolan, that brings us to our first big thing. So by now, you've heard that Christopher Nolan has achieved his first Academy Award for directing for Oppenheimer, which again I have to give him a big hand for, because there's two ironic things about that. One being the fact that he's always wanted to win, but two, look at it this way: someone who gave Warner Brothers and the DC films so much, the word is heck, for the Batman films that Christopher Nolan had made, specifically one particular movie, The Dark Knight. There's somebody that gave that film a hard time. I mean, they made fun of it. And was quoted as saying that they didn't understand the movie. Would you like to know who that is, or was, Martin?
Of course.
Best Supporting Actor Academy Award winner, Robert Downey Jr.
Oh. That's awkward.
That is awkward. He was talking shiznick about that movie. And I tell people all the time, Google everything RDJ said about the movie The Dark Knight. And notice he made fun of the entire film and everybody a part of it, with the exception of Christopher Nolan. And he made sure to say that he would love to work with Christopher Nolan as soon as he got a chance. Well, he did. Nolan got an award, and RDJ got an award. So, just saying, of course, he didn't get any for his comic book work, but RDJ finally has achieved again. I still think that the job he did for the movie Chaplin was amazing. His portrayal of Charlie Chaplin is one of the definitive acting performances, at least in my mind, of my lifetime. That entire film is amazing. Everybody was amazing in that movie. RDJ, in my opinion, has only gotten better with age. And he's a guy that's going to constantly just keep it going. I think he's going to just ramp it up. Although, you never know what the future holds. He could decide to turn around and be Tony Stark one more time, but something tells me it's going to take more than just a dump truck full of money to do it. I think there needs to be something else with that. So, because he's already done that dance. I don't think money's a problem for him and his wife anymore. So you're going to have something more than just money to tempt him back to do that. But Christopher Nolan now is looking for his next adventure, his next film. And according to various sources, it looks like he has decided on an idea that he initially tried a few years ago, and he circled back around to it, which is a live action adaptation, a big screen version of the classic television series, The Prisoner. And wow is all I can say. I mean, if he's serious about doing it, if he decides to put forth the kind of effort that he put in with Oppenheimer, or one of my favorites of his, The Prestige. Think about all the actors and actresses, and he's done this before, where he's worked with people a lot. Cillian Murphy, you got to understand, this guy, Cillian Murphy, he was the Scarecrow in Batman Begins.
Yes.
Now he's got an Academy Award for Best Actor. Which is, I think, one of the reasons why you don't see him in the upcoming Tron film. Because
unpayable.
Yeah, he's out of reach. That's the reason why I keep saying, if you're gonna ever see Robert Downey Jr. suit up as Iron Man ever again, they're gonna have to do more than just pay him money, because he's got an Academy Award now. Kevin Feige's going to have to figure out something else.
By the way, that Academy Award was long overdue.
Oh, yes. Look, Chaplin, that movie's almost 20 years old?
Chaplin, the soloist.
And the soloist, yeah. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. Wolverine 66 has something for me. Aha! Blue Mankuma played Franklin Stern as the new editor of the Daily Planet in Smallville season 9.8 or 9.18. So season 9, episode 18. Wow! If that's true, then I stand corrected. Still doesn't mean that Warner Brothers as a studio has picked up on this. Again, it's amazing that they've turned around to actually create a DC film studio, because the way everything was prior to James Gunn and Peter Safran is that they divided everything up depending on the area of the studio you were in. This is one of the reasons why I've said before, and to back me up, Martin can say this. I've said it before. This idea that DC was ever going to be able to do what Marvel Studios had done was a next to impossible thing, because they didn't have the infrastructure set up to do what Marvel has done. When you don't put somebody in charge and create a small studio dedicated to doing that one thing, because everything was divided up. Even back when they seemingly had everything was still divided up and was limited in power and scope. The first time they tried something like this, it was very limited. It was something that, even though you had people running it, the executives at Warner Brothers were still running roughshod over it. With James Gunn and Peter Safran operating under the David Zaslav group running Warner Brothers right now, you at least have a real group that have the authority to be able to create and do whatever they need to do. Now, is it the exact same as what Marvel Studios is? Not quite. But it's a lot further along and better equipped than the last grouping that they had under the previous group of people who were running Warner Brothers. That's it. That's all. Let's see. But to get back to the news about Christopher Nolan, speaking as a fan myself of The Prisoner, I'm kind of excited. I'm kind of excited because Christopher Nolan the big question is, who are you going to have play number 6? And who are you going to have play number 2? That's the big question.
I got it.
Okay.
Number 6, Timothy Chalamet. Number 2, Tom Holland. Of course not. I'm just being facetious.
Well, looking back at all of the movies that Christopher Nolan has put together, all of the people that he's had in his films, looking at all the previous films he's made, films like Insomnia, The Prestige. Who would you cast as the person to be number 6? And the thing you have to understand, if you are a fan of the Prisoner television series, how I've embraced the show since college, is that it's a kind of sequel to
Danger Man.
Yeah, Danger Man, which was the other series that had the same lead actor. So you would have to have it be someone who you could believe or be believable as a secret agent first and foremost. And then who you could put in this circumstance. So, Wolverine 66, I think Michael Caine has retired from acting. It'd be great if he could get him to come out of retirement to at least play a part in this. It'd be great if they could have him be the head of the agency to whom number 6 presents his retirement to. So I would really depend, but again, I know a lot of people are throwing a lot of stuff, but you really do have to dig deep and think about all of these actors and actresses that have appeared in all of these movies that he's made and who you would decide on if you were to choose amongst everyone who has ever appeared in any of his films. Who would you cast if you were to pick amongst all of these people? I think Robert Downey Jr. would make a very interesting number 2. But that's just me. So
Henry Cavill? That's number 6, maybe.
yeah, but I don't think Henry Cavill's ever appeared in a Christopher Nolan movie.
This could be a good introduction. Oh my god.
Monkey out of the box. Okay. I still don't remember what character Mike Myers played in a Christopher Nolan film, though.
Yeah,
I will say,
at some point, Nolan has to look for new actors.
true. I'm not saying he would, but that's what he's been doing over the years. He's built up a nice group of actors to, that have become semi-regulars in certain films, starting with Cillian Murphy. I mean, here's the thing about it. Someone is dedicated to a particular creative when they're willing to even make cameo appearances in a big movie. Cillian Murphy is one of the few actors outside of the main cast members to have appeared in all 3 of Christopher Nolan's Batman films. So do you think he would pass up the opportunity of being in this movie?
No, I don't think so. Man, and the actors he works with, they are loyal to him.
Yes.
Oh, did you know the story about how Chris pitched Bane to Tom Hardy?
No, go ahead and tell that story.
It's as told by Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy says that Chris came to him all, well, I don't know if you may be interested in this because, yeah, we're going to film in, and he named all the locations. We're film there and there and there and there. The problem is, how can I say it? You will have to put on a mask during all the film. And the response that Tom Hardy would say, "Oh, so you're telling me that I'm going to travel the world, and the only thing I have to do is put on a mask?"
Wow. And considering some of the other movies that he's been in with other directors, including the movie that I've mentioned before is Bronson, which again, I will tell people, do not watch that movie, at least with anybody under a certain age. That'll give them nightmares. In fact, that film.
What do you think about this?
Daniel
Craig as the prisoner.
Maybe, but it would. Let me put it to you this way: Daniel Craig is a phenomenal actor, but wouldn't it feel like stunt casting to do that? Just saying. I'm not saying he couldn't. Hey, okay, Shinatsky, look. I got nothing but respect for the AMC version of The Prisoner. Although personally, I guess I'm just I don't know. I guess. Okay, Monkey. He says Daniel Craig Bond wouldn't die. The nanites would start to repair. I guess.
Hey, Venkman's Gerry's here.
Hey, Peter Venkman fan site. Hey, all in listen mode. Not really awake now. That's okay. That's all right. Well, listen. This is a cool question, and so we're going to take some time. We got to play a special little thing. We are at the halfway point now, so keep your comments coming in. Keep considering who you think would make a good cast for a big screen version of The Prisoner, directed by Academy Award winner Christopher Nolan.
And with that, we see you after the ad.
Meet the Seattle Vigilante. Like so many comic heroes, this warrior hides his identity. But his identity isn't the only secret he has to keep. After grievous wounds received during combat, Tier 1 operator John Russell begins to recover and comes to terms with his new reality of being an amputee. And as he learns how to use his new prosthetic limb, he finds himself caught up in the bureaucratic red tape that too many wounded veterans experience, the exhausting medboard process. Out of sheer frustration, John takes it out on the criminal scum of the city. But when reality kicks in, John realizes he started something that's having an impact on the greater world around him, and thus has to reevaluate his motives. And moreover, just how far is John willing to go to finish this war he's declared against the criminals in Seattle? And will he even survive? From the creator of IDW's award-winning graphic novel Code Word Geronimo comes a new story about a different kind of warrior, Vindicated Inc., the first of its kind disabled veteran action hero comic. The Vindicated Inc. graphic novel crowdfunding campaign on fundmycomic.com is provided in the description of this video. We hope you become a contributor. Please share this link. Thank you.
Hey. Vindicated Inc. If you've not yet gotten on board, get on board. Don't get left behind. When this comic drops, you're going to want to be there. You're going to want to be part of the crew that helps support one of the just best comics out there, man. Okay. Let's look at some of these comments now. Let's see. Monkey Jeebus is.
I don't know if he's janking or chain, but man, Matt Damon.
Matt Damon would be interesting. But
before he said that, we have a lot of more comments. Whoa. I just lost control of it.
You know, I think one person that I would be. Let's see. Gap After Dark says, I thought Oppenheimer was about the largest bar exclusive. Wow. I think one person who a few years ago would have made an interesting number 6 would have been Guy Pearce, who was in Nolan's Memento.
Oh man, but Guy Pearce is out of the age range.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't know if there's an age range too much. I mean, it definitely has to be somebody under the age of 50, in my opinion. You know, this is going to sound bad, but I think there's a lot more people that you could consider, you know. I think Hugh Jackman would be good. I think Christian Bale would be good.
Bale. I will go with Bale before Jackman.
Really?
Yeah. They both can play very intense character, but I think Bale outdoes Hugh Jackman just by a little notch.
What about Tom Hardy?
Man, you're talking about the man of the 1,000 faces. Yes, Tom Hardy.
And Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
Uh, Good work. I would prefer Hardy.
Cillian Murphy himself?
Oh, as number 2.
Leonardo DiCaprio?
Nope.
No?
No.
Yeah, you were quick on that no.
The voice. It's the voice.
Okay.
You need a full presence.
Now, someone's already talked about Timothy Chalamet.
No. No.
What
Hell
about
no.
What about Matthew McConaughey?
I could go with that. But I don't know. McConaughey's too well. Before the Dallas Buyers Club, he always acts so nonchalant, so carefree. But yeah,
What about
it would.
say as number 2? What about Kenneth Branagh?
Man, that's heavy artillery.
Yeah, but he's worked with Christopher Nolan
Hmm.
twice.
Man. That's the best one I heard so far.
Well, how about this
Well,
one?
I won't say the best one, but the one that got my interest the most.
Well, how about this one? And I know this is going to set some people off, but this is definitely a person who counts. Robert Pattinson.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have any problem with that.
Okay.
God damn! After Gap after that is having a field trip. Orlando.
This says Orlando Bloom.
Hey, don't laugh at that, man.
I'm not laughing. I mean, it's just, man, you're killing me, monkey. You're killing me.
Dude, did you see Carnival Row?
Oh yeah, he's a very good actor. Pedro Pascal. I think
No.
Pedro's a little overexposed in certain respects. Let's see. Gap. Let's see. Anima says, responding to Gap After Dark, Tudyk as an Alan Tudyk needs to focus on Resident Alien. Hey,
Which reminds me, I haven't seen the last season.
Well, now's a good time to catch up.
Indeed.
And Gap After Dark says, hello, no robber, partisan parent. So that makes me feel that Gap After Dark's not a
fan of Patterson.
Yeah. And Wolverine says Nolan needs a new face. Maybe. But what about Harry Styles? Who also
the hell are you doing? No.
He is also
no. Don't care. No. Imagine number 6 in a dress. No.
Oh, well,
No.
Okay. What about Barry Cohagen? There's a lot of people like Barry Cohagen.
I don't think I know.
He's the Joker in Robert Pattinson's Batman. And he's the lead in the movie Saltburn that a lot of young people seem to like.
I have no interest in Saltburn.
Okay. I mean, that's
So
going
the-
over a lot of Christopher Nolan films. And again, I'm not saying it really has to just be someone that he's worked with before. But here's the thing, you're trying to basically sell people on a big screen adaptation of a television series that for anybody under the age of 40 probably have never heard of, never saw, didn't really understand it.
I don't think that matters. The moment the younger audience just see the name Christopher Nolan, that would be enough.
Mm. Oh, I know that. But I mean, you know, what you got to understand is there's a reason why that show, that series, is so well thought of. I think when TV Guide ran the top television shows of all time, I think The Prisoner ranked in the top 10, top 15 all-time TV shows. I just saw Barry Bostwick. He'd make a very he would make a very interesting number 2. Chris Christopherson, I don't know.
See, Wolverine is with me.
I'm just saying, there's a lot to pick from. Kit Harington. Hey,
I don't know.
Kit would be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, it's the voice and the puppy face.
Well, be that as it may,
Matt Smith. Keep talking, Jeebus.
Wow, Jeebus is picking up a lot here. But let's. I would hope that, given the basic premise of the show, and for those who don't know what the premise is, it's a really simple premise. An agent for a clandestine agency in Britain who's been very successful one day comes off of a mission and decides to just up and quit. He's done. He's out. He argues with his superiors. He wants out. He wants out now. He is done. He goes home. He's packing his things. He's out of it. And while he's in the middle of packing things at his apartment, he begins to lose consciousness. He passes out. He wakes up. He doesn't know how long it's been. All he knows is he needs to get himself together and leave. And Peter Capaldi, interesting. He'd make a very interesting number 2. So he walks out his front door, and turns out he's someplace different. I mean, he looks inside. It's his apartment, or at least a replica of his apartment. Okay? His flat, really. But walking outside is completely different. A different place. A place known as the Village. And nobody there uses names. They are all given a number.
But a man is not a number.
Yes. Well, this agent wakes up to all of this and finds out that his number is 6. He is only referred to as number 6. So he tries to find a way to leave this place, and it turns out there's you're welcome to travel all over this place, but you're not allowed to go beyond the confines of where it is too far. You're hunted down and brought back. And he continues to try to escape again and again and again and again. And one of the inside jokes of the show is that after a while, the original person who called themselves number 2 changes. It's a new person. Every seems like every couple of episodes they have a brand new number 2. And number 6, his number one thing is he continues to ask them because they want to know why he wants to quit. That's the number one question from the people holding him. They want to know why he wants to quit. He tries to shoot back. Well, he wants them to answer his question. Who's number 1? What's the identity of number 1?
He's the Duke. He's number 1.
So that's it right there. I mean, it's basically a show that you can definitely tell that shows like Lost, a lot of ideas about how to entertain and create thrillers. That The Prisoner was very instrumental in a whole generation of TV shows that came after. Whether you're talking shows like, in a small way, a show like, say, a show like Twin Peaks or The X-Files. In a big way, a show like Lost. Even a lot of other shows that have this sort of thriller type overall question type thing going on. Very instrumental, but this was the show that did it first and did it very, very well. I think the show's celebrating 57 years this year. It's the 57th anniversary. And considering that Christopher Nolan already attempted to do this before, he's already had time to consider. And now it would be very easy for him, I think, to almost fast track this project. Because, why would you ever really want to spend time on something that isn't going to be very good? He's got all the momentum coming out of this win as far as the business is concerned. He can do anything he wants. If he's willing to put time, effort, energy, and a few years of his life behind this, that means it's worth his time. So he and his wife, Emma, who's his producer, and Charles Roven. Yeah, Charles Roven. They're wanting to do this, and it's looking based on what I have seen so far. There's also the possibility he could go back to Warner Brothers. There's a distinct possibility he could go back to Warner Brothers. So this is a big thing. And hopefully it's something that we fans of Nolan's films can have some fun with. I hope it's something that first and foremost is solid all the way through. Great script, great cast, and I hope it's good. So anyway. Let's go on to the next. Our next story is the surprising news about X-Men 97. According to the Hollywood Reporter and Variety, by now, a lot of you have probably heard this, but we're getting closer and closer to the premiere of X-Men 97. and its showrunner, Bo DeMeo, has been fired. So let me put together, let's see, let's just read what they have here on Variety's website by Jordan Moreau. Bo DeMeo, the showrunner and executive producer behind Disney Plus's upcoming animated series X-Men 97, has been fired ahead of the March 20th premiere. Variety has confirmed. DeMeo has completed work on seasons 1 and 2 of X-Men 97 ahead of his exit. He will not attend the March 13th Hollywood premiere for the show, which was really yesterday, or not last night, I should say. His Instagram account, on which he had been previewing artwork and answering fan questions about X-Men 97, has also been deleted. He wrote and produced X-Men 97, which is a continuation of the popular X-Men the Animated Series that aired on Fox Kids in the 90s. It's unclear why DeMeo was fired from X-Men 97 so close to the premiere, but he will no longer promote the show or be involved with future seasons. Let's see. DeMeo also wrote on the following Marvel and Disney Plus series Moon Knight, starring Oscar Isaac, and the upcoming feature film Blade, starring Mahershala Ali. I should say starring Academy Award-winning actor Mahershala Ali. His other credits include Star Trek Strange New Worlds, Netflix's live-action The Witcher, starring Henry Cavill, the animated film The Witcher Nightmare of the Wolf, and 2 animated League of Legends shorts, Absolution and Before Dawn. Several original cast members of X-Men the Animated Series are returning for X-Men 97, more than 30 years after the series finale. The new show picks up where the 90s Saturday morning cartoon ended. And let's see, that's really all of the pertinent that's really all the pertinent information. The rest of it's just background on the X-Men series. But yeah. And Monkey Jeebus, first out of the gate with everything he's worked on failed. I will admit, a lot of what he's worked on has been stuff that not exactly stuff that I would really campaign on. Moon Knight was not as good as it could have been, but he wasn't the showrunner. He just contributed. Blade, he contributed to an early version of that script. Star Trek Strange New Worlds, the less said, the better. Netflix's live action The Witcher. This is where he gets a gold star.
Yeah.
He was the one who stood up and
With
said,
Henry.
he stood up and said that the showrunner and the writer's room did Henry Cavill dirty by straying away from the source material, which is kind of ironic considering this is the same person who ended up working on Star Trek Strange New Worlds and working on Moon Knight, which are the very definitions of straying from the source material. So,
well, maybe he is a fan of The Witcher and not a fan of the other two.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah. So I ask everyone. So with Bo DeMeo, with him being fired, what do you think? Is that a good thing for X-Men 97? Is that a bad thing? What are your thoughts? So
it's hard to have an opinion without having seen the show.
Yeah.
if the show is good, could be a bad thing. Could be a bad thing. If the show is bad, could be a good thing. Could be a bad thing because you don't know. Maybe his replacement can be worse. So
Well, hold on. Let's see. Monkey Jeebus says that Bo DeMeo was fired because his interaction with fans and Moon Knight failed. Okay. Yeah, that's there could be that possibility. Let's see. Gap After Dark. Allegedly, they said on the internet it could be because he has an OnlyFans account. Okay. In my research, supposedly that OnlyFans account was not on the same
yes.
level as a lot of other accounts.
Yeah.
It wasn't quite that graphic. I heard that he mainly had a lot of pictures of himself with his shirt off.
Hmm.
And tame compared to other OnlyFans accounts, as I've heard. Let's see. Monkey says Marvel doesn't want his.
Oh.
Well.
Yeah.
Well, Monkey, that's another thing there. Doesn't want his magic starfish to associated with X-Men 97. So
well, if you've seen the current iteration of X-Men, that is almost an OnlyFan account.
Yeah, what they've done to X-Men in the comics over the last 2 years, yeah, that basically that whole thing could be an OnlyFans series. Wow. Let's see. Gap After Dark says it doesn't matter if it's graphic. He was on OnlyFans, and how do we know he didn't do private videos for people on OnlyFans? Well,
I don't think so.
That's a nice point there.
Yeah, but I don't think so. It's too risky.
Well, that's the other thing I heard is that he's had this OnlyFans for years. This is not something new. It'd be different if this was new, but when they did the background check, this would have come up. Then again, Disney has hired people with questionable, histories or having done certain things that they have taken care of and still gotten hired. So supposedly.
True.
Or allegedly. Wolverine 626 says he had more than his shirt off. He was flopping in the so are you saying he just went full
Monty?
Full Monty. That's a good one. Yeah, full Monty. Well, if he did that, yeah, that would violate a few things there.
You think? Well, then Disney sending mixed messages.
Let's see. He started his OnlyFans after he was hired by Disney, according to Wolverine 66. Monkey Jeebus says maybe Rippaverse will hire him. Eric hired the Soskas. You know what? That is interesting. I don't know if Rippaverse would hire him because, again, some of what he's worked on has not exactly been in line with the source material that a lot of it's based on. Just say it. Anyway, look, personally, I hope things work out for him. It must be hard to basically give so much and work so hard on basically trying to give something to the world creatively and adapt something, or in this case, re-adapt something, and meet the expectations of fans while also working for a corporation that has other things in mind that you have to also worry about. I hope he is able to find something else that he can invest his time and effort and energy into that is something that he's completely and utterly passionate about. So, Gap says, Wolverine 66 says, 6 sent Tom Connors the pictures. Poor Tom. Wow. Okay.
Oh,
Well, first of all, 6. And second of all, ooh, Tom. Oh, wow, dude.
our hearts
Yeah.
go with you, man.
Let's see. Gap After Dark says it has to be something big for them to fire him so close to the premiere. Yeah, that was my thought. If you're going to fire somebody this close to the premiere, it better be on the level of helping aliens, kidnap humans because of their cookbook.
Not only the fighting, but man, denying him access to
Yeah.
anything.
I mean, that's severe.
Oh my God!
Wow, Gap.
God.
I you know what? I have no. Yeah, I'm glad you did it. I'm glad it worked out for you, Gap. I'm not exactly interested in doing that, but that's what you want to do. More power to you. Monkey Jima says he might have mouthed off after they warned him. That's true. That very well could be.
Oh my God!
Oh,
Fact check.
jeez. Gap saying, yeah, he's a big fact checker. And Wolverine 66 says apparently Bo DeMaio is short. Oh, you know what? Okay. Again, not much to say. Not much to say on that front. Again, I wish him luck in his next endeavor. Wow. But you know what? Sometimes in this business, it really is all about landing on your feet. And if there's one person out there that could give a lot of advice about landing on one's feet, okay, it has to be William Allen Shatner. I tell you, in my life growing up, I think William Shatner is just one of the just major forces of nature out there, creatively and otherwise. And now it looks like he has a movie. It looks like he has a brand new documentary about his life called "You Can Call Me Bill," and it looks like it's coming from. Let's see. It looks like it'll be out in about another week or two. So the movie's finished. I think they've already had one advance showing, I think, and they are set to have another one next week. And it's looking like the film is set to premiere on March 22nd, which is actually William Shatner's birthday. I
On
should
which
say.
platform?
Say what?
On what platform? Where is it?
Let's
It's going to be
see. It
released.
is. I think it's initially going to be in movie theaters first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's William Allen Shatner, OC, because he was knighted, technically. Wow, I still can't believe the man is 92 years old
And went to space.
and went to space. It's just hard for me to. It's hard for me to wrap my head around that part of it. 92 years old and getting it done. Wow. Anyway, on March 20th, there will be a live Q&A for that film. And they will be showing it at different theaters. Let me see if I can get this information on the movie itself. So let's see. So according to published reports, William Shatner will be in Richmond Friday for a film premiere, and you can go. Oh, so this Friday, tomorrow. Let's see. Captain Kirk, a.k.a. William Shatner, is premiering his latest flick in Richmond on Friday at the Bird Theater. Let's see. He will be in town for GalaxyCon, but is making a stop at the Bird to premiere You Can Call Me Bill, a documentary all about the actor. Let's see. The Richmond premiere is a week ahead of the film's national release schedule for March 22nd, which is Shatner's 93rd birthday. Wow. If you want to go, the red carpet premiere of You Can Call Me Bill is Friday, March 15th at 8 p.m. Tickets start at $50. VIP tickets, $500, including walking the red carpet, an invite, and 2 drink tickets to the pre-show party, a picture with Shatner, and other swag. Whew, that's kind of pricey. Oh, geez. And the super VIP tickets include the above plus a dinner with celebs from Star Trek franchise. Shatner will pop in and on stage seating during the post-screening Q&A. Wow. Wow. 1,500. Oh, geez. Yeah, I wouldn't have that kind of money, but I'd be interested. I would almost play the trailer, but I'm afraid to. You know how YouTube can be sometimes.
Yeah.
So, for those of you interested, you can just look up the trailer for You Can Call Me Bill and watch it. I've seen it before. Very good trailer. Makes me very interested to see the movie, covering his entire life. And yeah. I think having it come out on his birthday, and that'll complete the set, because there's already a documentary about the life of Leonard Nimoy. And so having this one will complete the set. I think you can watch the Leonard Nimoy documentary on Netflix. So what do you think, Martin? What do you guys think? A William Shatner documentary.
I'm all for it.
Cool.
I don't know how I'm going to watch it, because I really don't see that coming down into theaters here.
Yeah.
We're Latin America's not very fond of documentaries,
Well,
but ah,
I think it'll be fun. You know,
yeah,
I have been.
it's Shatner. It's going to be fun.
Of course.
That guy doesn't know how to be boring.
And that's the thing. William Shatner's always interesting, always fun, in my opinion. And the one time I got a chance to actually meet him, he was everything I thought he would be, and in the best way possible. Um, he was the final member of the original cast still alive that I got a chance to meet, and wow, you know. Anima Confusa says, my thoughts on Shatner documentary. Why did it take so long to do that? I have
they
no
can
idea.
I know, so they can put more awesomeness on it.
I don't think he ever really slowed down to get interviewed enough. He was always doing something. But on top of that, I just think that certain people within the business had a particular thought about William Shatner, mainly based on years and years and years of stories that over time a great majority of them have been debunked. And based on various memoirs and people who have interacted with Shatner and other people around Shatner, they've gotten a chance to know the real guy, and time has shown that William Shatner is a lot more and a much better person than he's been shown to be. So, nice question, Anima. Thank you. I've said it before and I'll say it again. You know, you can have whatever personal thoughts about someone that you want, but if you really want to be fair and honest, if you can't take what William Shatner has to say about what he's done and how he's done things, at least understand that there are people who have written about it, who have no stake or reason to lie, and they've confirmed a majority of what Shatner has said, and even came out with a few things that Shatner never revealed that reveal a lot about his character. He definitely is one of the most interesting celebrities, one of the last big stars. Definitely someone who I grew up watching, not just in Star Trek, and as far as I'm concerned, to me is Star Trek. But in a lot of projects that he's taken on, and you're able to at least understand why he did it. That's the other interesting thing about it. We have a better understanding now why William Shatner, as an actor, did what he did in the 1970s, following the success, the delayed success of Star Trek, and why he got asked to do so many projects. The simple answer is he needed the money. He just said yes to anything that came along. That is the simple answer. You know, he was a dad that needed to provide for his family. Even though he was divorced, he wanted to make sure his children were well taken care of. And again, as a dad myself, I completely understand that. It's one of the things that is misunderstood about William Shatner. You know, he took a lot of stuff that he could have easily just tried to play the game and tried to act like he was big time once Star Trek started to become successful. But his need to want to provide for his children and to make sure his ex-wife had everything she needed in order to get his kids raised. I could completely understand that. Down to the fact of him basically being homeless for a bit at a time when he could have easily, well, a lot of people assumed a lot about his personal life and his wealth and blah, 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 blah. And it turns out that was the exact opposite. And how old he was. I mean, from the final episode of Star Trek to the premiere of Star Trek the Motion Picture, his return to that role, that's only about a 10-year period, give or take. 10 years. So he packed in a lot of different things in 10 years. He did all kinds of work, tried to find another television series, which is really a way that a working actor can make a lot of money, is becoming part of a television series because you have weekly income. And again, for someone who, again, I have to state, he was 35 when he started on Star Trek. The show goes for 3 seasons. And then 10 years later, he has another opportunity to do it again. So during all of that mid-period time, when everything wasn't going so well, he was doing voiceover work on the animated series for Star Trek, and he took every job he could, whether it was stuff like Kingdom of the Spiders, The Devil's Reign with Ernest Borgnine, Whale of a Tale, which was one of my favorite non-Star Trek films of his. It's a very good family film.
I can never get past the last name of Ernest Borgnine. It's so Star Trek-y. Borg 9.
Yeah, but you also have to remember, this is, I mean,
yeah, of course. But
I mean, Star Trek: The Next Generation didn't even happen until 1987. And so you're still, I mean, that's a long time. But Ernest Borgnine, great career. As far as I'm concerned, he will always be Mr. Santini and Airwolf. I still think Airwolf could work today if you did it right. But that's just me. But as I said before, Kingdom of the Spiders, Devil's Reign, Whale of a Tale, Big Bad Mama with Angie Dickinson. That's another one of those movies. Oh my goodness. William Shatner in a gangster movie. Come on. Of course, Rescue 911. Although for me, William Shatner's appearance in Police Squad. Well, rank as one.
I'm bringing on some heat on me again, but I still defend T.J. Hooker. I love that show.
Oh, T.J. Hooker, yes. But I mean, I was just accounting for all the work he did between the end of Star Trek and him appearing in Star Trek the Motion Picture. Okay? Now, T.J. Hooker wouldn't come until after Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan. So that's after 1982. See, I'm such a Shatner fan. I know how everything works in order. And that's not counting his appearances on various hit TV shows like Columbo, which he's appeared in twice. He did 2 episodes of Columbo. He did You can find the pilot episode for his attempted series that he tried called The Barbary Coast, which is really just no more than an updated version of the Wild Wild West, but set on the West Coast. So if you go to YouTube and type in The Barbary Coast, William Shatner, that should come up. They also have episodes of, let's see, what was the other series that he had done before Star Trek? He had a show called Alexander with Adam West. He and Adam West were actually a part of a TV show together about the life of Alexander the Great. I'm sure a lot of this stuff will be covered in the documentary. So, but I am very excited for this as a big Shatner fan. So, yeah, it's whew. And speaking of being a Shatner fan and Star Trek, let's just get to the big news. Now, for those that have been following since last week, we had talked about how Doomcock had a story about Star Trek's future as a brand, and the fact that Warner Brothers is wanting to buy it. So now Doomcock had an update. And what it comes down to is this. Warner Brothers is only interested in Star Trek. They are not interested in the rest of Paramount. They only want Star Trek. Okay? Which seems logical. Skydance, which was the company that had produced the J.J. Abrams movies, Star Trek films, they want to buy Paramount. They have absolutely no interest in Star Trek. If they were to buy Paramount, pretty much Star Trek would get mothballed. They think Star Trek as a brand is toxic now. The work that has been done to disrupt Star Trek, to drive fans away, to hurt the entire brand, has made it toxic. And that's saying something about a company that helped to at least produce the J.J. Abrams films. Wolverine 626, you got to remember, Star Trek without Paramount feels sacrilegious, you say. It in a way it does. But, there was a time when Star Trek really wasn't a part of Paramount. That first season of the Star Trek series it wasn't part of Paramount. It's Norway production. But things have gone a particular direction. Things have been bad, real bad, and bad enough that it has truly hurt the brand to the point where Skydance, again, as I keep pointing out, Skydance, which is the company that helped to produce the J.J. Abrams films, feels that there is really no real future for Star Trek. Meanwhile, Warner Brothers wants it. They want the IP. So, as of right now, Secret Hideout is done. If this deal goes through, they are done completely. The Academy series, Starfleet Academy series, it's done. According to Doomcock and his sources, that is done. According to his sources, Doomcock reported that Warner Brothers gets their hands on this. they're basically just going to take it out back and end it, as far as Starfleet Academy is concerned.
They're going to say to the show, "Look at the flowers.
Just
Look
look
at
at the
flowers."
flowers. That's it. You know, and the same thing goes for Section 31. They don't care. Zaslav is not the guy you want to mess with.
Mm.
Zaslav has already let it be known. I've done it before, and I'll do it again. He doesn't care. It's time to clear the deck, and it's time to, if we're going to fix this, it's got to be fixed now.
Wolverine.
Oh,
I know it may feel weird, but I don't care to which company it's attached to. I just want good Star Trek again.
yeah.
I don't care who is gonna make it. I just want it to be good again.
Yeah, Wolverine 66, Star Trek needs fixed, however, and if that means a new home, then so be it. I think that's really what everybody's feeling at this point. It's done. You know, Paramount and CBS, but Paramount has lost so much money and so much value. A lot of the work in presenting a brand new Star Trek universe and shows was to at least help them make money. And all of this stuff under Secret Hideout has done the exact opposite. I know there are some Star Trek fans of Kurtzman out there. Okay, and let me just officially say I feel bad for you. I really do. No, seriously, I do. Because there's a lot of you that became fans because of what you saw with this. But what you got to understand is that Kurtzman is the one that has been the toxic one in this relationship. And not all of you guys, but a certain number of these newer fans have also been very toxic. Because Star Trek was not this bad off before a lot of you before really Kurtzman got a hold of it. At least with J.J. Abrams, all he wanted to do was have something with his name on it and make a little money on the side. But Kurtzman has been completely and utterly toxic. And I will say that again. Alex Kurtzman is a toxic SOB. He has ruined Star Trek.
Don't be coy. Tell us what you really feel.
But he has nearly killed the brand by himself. And his ego is to the point where it just seems like he's not interested in making money, which is really what you should be interested in if you are working for someone else. See, that's what you really need to understand. That's what a lot of you new Star Trek fans need to understand. Kurtzman isn't some genius. He did not retroactively create Star Trek, which is what he and Akiva Goldsman have been trying to get you guys to think that they're doing, that they are the retroactive creators of Star Trek. This is not their original idea. And the money spent to create all this material, it's not their money. CBS didn't hire these guys to do this because they were trying to make a point politically. Some of the people that worked for CBS were interested in doing it. But when your stock prices go as low and when things have gone as bad business-wise for Paramount as they have just in the last 2 years, something's wrong. And you got the raw end of the deal, that even with all the problems that Disney's had, even Disney and its shareholders look at Paramount and go, wow, you guys have a problem. Warner Brothers and all their problems, and even Zaslav's like, hey, I couldn't fix Paramount. I can't do You know, that's how, I mean, that's really what we're talking about here. You have Skydance. I think I was watching one of the shows on YouTube to give you an idea of how bad things are. Skydance is a company that is run by, it quote unquote is a recent company compared to Paramount. Paramount is one of the original mainstays of Hollywood as a studio, right? In the last few years, its financial problems are so bad, it has shrunk the company down so much that Skydance, the studio that has been financing all of the J.J. Abrams films, are almost the same size now as Paramount. Paramount has shrunk that much. Shinatsky, Kirk's Trek is the anti-Genesis device. They took existing matter and reconfigured it into a big ball of human waste matter. Yes. Wolverine 626 said JJ Trek may not be pure Trek, but at least I can enjoy it on its own terms. The majority of Kurtzman Trek, however, is a different story. Wolverine 626, as my other brother likes to say, we park our shuttlecrafts in the same shuttle bay when it comes to that topic. Yes. It is, that's exactly what I think. Again, I'm not the biggest JJ fan, but again, JJ is only interested in, you know, he could be persuaded. Anybody can come in, do anything they want with the version of Star Trek that he's already set up. He's just looking to make a little cash. But it's Kurtzman who is the militant. It's all my way or not. And that is really what has sunk the entire brand. You know, you had to understand, the moment it was announced that there's a path forward for Star Trek Legacy, which is really a spinoff or a continuation of Picard Season 3. But that Terry Matalas and his team, who brought us that, operating in some of the worst conditions in order to bring us all of that they weren't invited back, and that it would be Kurtzman giving us Star Trek Legacy. At that point, it was pretty much confirmed whose ego was out of control.
Mm.
And that's what's amazing to me, to see a lot of people try to defend Kurtzman. Look, you can like what he has presented to you, but you cannot explain away this guy's ego, which is completely and utterly out of control, in having to replace Terry Matalas on something that he did the heavy lifting on. Whether you liked Picard Season 3 or not. Is Picard Season 3 the best Trek ever? No. But Kurtzman has damaged the brand so bad. I mean, if Star Trek were up to the level that it's always been, Picard Season 3 would have been all right. But compared to what has been presented, it's way better than anything that Kurtzman's ever worked on as far as his version of Star Trek. And that's including Strange New Worlds. I know there's a lot of Strange New World fans out there. Trust me, I feel your pain. So don't take this pillow over your face personally, but it's time to go. So, wrapping it up, Doomcock had this to say. think,
Come on, Gap.
oh, thank you, Gap After Dark. Thanks for talking about Kurtzman. I have done. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm about to finish up. So, in conclusion, let me at least tell you this much. According to Doomcock, his spies have noted two very important things. First, Kurtzman wants out. Now, I think it was presented to him that there is no way out of this. This is going to happen. As I always like to tell people, it's kind of like you have been pushed out of a plane and you realize you have no backpack, you have no parachute.
You better begin and flap those arms, man.
Reality is about to hit, and there are two ways this is going to go, and neither one of them are without pain. So Kurtzman wants to be bought out. He wants to be completely bought out of this, meaning that this final season of Discovery is it in more ways than one. Hallelujah, thank God. But that also means that all of it goes. You know, it's like Steve Rogers. It's like Steve Rogers said in The Winter Soldier when talking to Nick Fury. It all has to go. All of it. All of it. If you're going to save this, Kurtzman Trek in all of its various forms has to go. It all goes. Any connection to anything that Kurtzman has had his fingers in, you cannot keep it. Because Kurtzman and his people are going to try to get money out of you. And Zaslav doesn't want to share. He's made that evident in his negotiations. So it all goes.
He's like Sauron. He doesn't share power.
Up to a point. I mean, it's a better way to think of it like zombie infection. And Zaslav decided, well, you just got bit in the arm. We'll just cut the entire arm off. To be sure. That's exactly what they're doing. You know, look, in the end, all of you Kurtzman fans with Star Trek, it's been a nice run. It really has been. You've had your time. It's now time to get back to the business of promoting Star Trek, of creating entertainment that everybody can enjoy, and of celebrating William Shatner again. You know, because all of this stuff where you just are mean to the man over these last few years is unacceptable. He's 92 years old. Okay? Just stop. He's 92. Okay? He is the face of Trek. So, for all you Kurtzman Trek fans, for all you fans of Strange New Worlds, for all you fans of the Rick and Morty's Trek show that you have, for all you fans of the Nickelodeon Trek show, for all you, look, your time has been fun. It's now done. You will assume your proper place.
The experiment has ended.
As a loosely related conglomerate, whatever. It's a version of the Trek universe that'll be put off to the side here. We're not trying to bury it. You'll be able to see it anytime you want and visit it as often as you want. But as far as Warner Brothers and the future of Trek, we all know that it begins with the Roddenberry series and goes until 2005. And really, Kurtzman Trek will be treated exactly like JJ Trek, which is, it's just a different universe. That's all.
No. JJ Trek and Kurtzman Trek should be handled as a what if.
Okay, handled as a what if, but that's it. It's done. Okay, now I'm sure JJ will continue to try to negotiate to do some stuff. And the thing is because of the way he put his stuff together, it's easier, I think, for Zaslav to consider doing another Trek movie with JJ. Kurtzman, because of the way he's handled himself and because of how bad he has been to work with, it's a big no. None of that stuff will survive.
Oh,
So I know it's Martin. I'm sure you're hurt, but
oh yeah.
it's time to get back to making good Star Trek again, and hopefully this will be enough to shock everybody else out of their back to reality. If Star Trek can make a very healthy recovery, I hope this will be enough to shock Disney and everyone else back into getting their heads back in the game. Because I'm telling you right now, Star Trek comes back. If Warner Brothers can bring Star Trek back, you know they're going to try to contact a certain director out there and say, "Hey, man, you once said you'd be interested in a Star Trek movie. Well, now we've got it back to where we can. So do whatever you got to do." Tarantino would jump at the chance. I don't think he cares, but he wants to do Star Trek.
Man, I'm not sure if I'm prepared to see that amount of blood in Star Trek.
Hey, it would be way better than everything that has happened since the premiere episode of STD. That's the way I put it, you know. And again, Kurtzman Trek, it's been a few years. They've had a lot of episodes. It's not like you could just forget that it all happened. And there'll be a certain number of fans who will cry about it. And, yeah, get it out of your system. But the way I look at it, Kurtzman Trek was exceedingly lucky. They got more seasons than Firefly.
How can it be?
I know. But you know what? Go ahead and cry. But seriously, you got a lot more out of it than the Firefly fans did. So, in the end, suck it up. No, that's cruel. I shouldn't say that. But it's true. Hopefully this will lead to shaking a lot of other franchises and the people who control them out of their malaise and get them to understand it's time to get back to it. It's time to get back to it. And I hope that Disney can wake up and understand, hey, you need to make a decision about the Orville. Either you're going to seriously pursue more seasons of it, or you're going to sell it to someone else who cares enough about it to be able to do that. That's it. Because what you're doing with it right now, which, let me check. Yeah, absolutely nothing, doesn't work for me. So, okay, well, that's today's show. Oh, and as Columbo said, one last thing to completely put a nail in all of this. According to Doomcock and his people
Spies?
and spies. At this point, the deal pretty much is fast tracking. They could have a signed agreement by the end of this month, and everything be official by the end of next month. In Hollywood speak, that means we could be hearing something maybe even next week that this is happening. Okay,
I don't think they're gonna
Oh, I'm not saying
promote that
yeah.
until the release of the last season of Discovery.
I'm not saying they're actually going to, but I think we'll be hearing something on the down low. That's how quickly this is moving behind the scenes. That should let you know how bad things are for Paramount. It's bad financially. It's real bad. They need
But
money.
they did it to themselves.
Yeah, they did. Anyway, so there you go. Again, I'm done trampling on the feelings of Kurtzman Trek fans. Um, again, you guys got 5 years out of this, way more than Firefly fans. You got a lot of entertainment out of it. So you can buy all these episodes and replay them again and again and again and again and again. That's fun. I think that'll mean what? Strange New Worlds will end at 3 seasons. Huh. Ironically, just like Real Trek. Um,
Oh, they're gonna cling on that one. They're gonna say, "Well, we run as long as the original series." Blah 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 blah.
yeah, I'm sure. And that's fine. You you guys have enough material. You guys can just go to whatever conventions. You can dress up wearing your uniforms, and that's fine. That'll be great. Meanwhile, we'll get back to creating Real Trek. So yeah. Anyway, so that's our show, everybody. I'd like to thank the Peter Vinkman fan site, Monkey Jeebus, Destiny Captain, D. Bud Martin, Miss Penny, Lady Anima Confusa, Gap After Dark, and Sci-Fi Mom.
And of course, Wolverine 626, who
Oh,
I forgot to put in the list. I'm
oh,
sorry, but who has been given a real trouble comments today.
yeah. Between Wolverine 626, Gap After Dark, and Monkey Jeebus, you guys are having a great time. And yes, Monkey
Even,
Jeebus, I know the Orville is done. Okay, Anima, yeah, you are. You are Anima. You are.
and Shinotsky, you're okay.
Well, for my good friend Martin, the power behind the show, I have been Keith, and this has been Morning Coffee with Keith. Have a good day, everybody.
See you, everyone.